What's up? My name is Brian with Heart Music. You've chosen the guitar. Excellent choice. So let's get you started. First things first, what we'll need. Number one is a guitar. And I would suggest that giving your guitar a good look over and see if it needs anything done to it. If you notice that the strings seem kind of rusty, maybe a tuning peg is missing a piece or something like that, feel free to take it to a shop and get it looked over. Number two is a case. The guitar is a pretty fragile instrument, ultimately, and I tell all my students a little something is better than nothing when it comes to a case. So even if you only have a gig bag or maybe a thin case, that's better than nothing at all. The guitar is really just thin pieces of wood that have been glued together, and because of that, it's sensitive to heat, to cold, humidity, dryness, sunlight, all this kind of stuff. So, and to that end, don't keep your guitar in a hot car for too long, and don't keep your guitar in a really cold car for too long, anything like that. In general, what we tend to say is don't put your guitar anywhere you wouldn't want to be for any extended period of time. For me, I keep my guitar with me wherever I go, and if my guitar isn't in my hands, it's usually in the case. So some other things that will be of importance. Picks. Picks come in all different kinds of shapes, sizes, colors, thicknesses, all of that. I would go to a place like Chick Music. They have a big case full of picks. You can look through all the different kinds of picks they have and find something that's going to suit you best. A good starting point, if you're not sure where to go or what to do, is with a Fender medium pick. I like these. These are TORTEX picks. This is a .73 millimeter pick, but this might be too thin for you. You might like something thicker. And really, for me, I have all different kinds of picks depending on what style I'm playing. If I'm playing jazz, I tend to go with a little bit thicker pick. If I'm doing funk, rock, I tend to go with something a little thinner. So, pencil. Always keep a pencil handy. You'll need it for today. Now, for phone users, a couple of apps that are really important. One I use is called METRONOME. It looks like this when you open it up. This app is free, and you can find it on pretty much all platforms, on iPhones, on Androids, all that. And that's what it does. It just gives you a steady click. You will grow to loathe this app and love it, because this helps you work with groove, it helps you work with time, and it makes sure that what you're playing is nice and steady and even. The other app I would suggest is one called TUNA. With most of my students, I've found the most success with this app. It's very visual in showing you how to tune the guitar. And so it'll kind of show you what string you're tuning, and it'll give you a little indicator if it's too high or too low. And it has a little blunk when you're in tune. So most of my students have had good success with that one. Now, if you don't have a phone, no big deal. Or if you just like, I don't want my phone in the room while I'm practicing, you're very wise. Keep it away from you while you practice. You can get standalone metronomes and tuners. So this is a standalone metronome. This is the Boss Dr. Beat DB60. A little different sound for the tick, but a steady tick nonetheless. It speeds up, it slows down, that's all it needs to do. This one's a little to the fancy side. You can get them really fancy, or you can get them super simple. As long as you have some kind of metronome, it's fine. And for standalone tuners, probably my favorites for guitar have been these. This is made by a company called SNARK, S-N-A-R-K. And these are really intuitive. What they do is they just clip on to the edge or to the headstock of the guitar, and you turn it on and you pluck a string. It'll show you what it is and whether it's sharp or flat. These are pretty good tuners. I like them a lot. A few other things. Music stand is always great to have. You can get a small folding one for pretty cheap, and you can get something as fancy as the big heavy-duty Manhasset stands, but you don't necessarily need anything that crazy. Honestly, I've had some students that just either couldn't afford a stand or don't have one, don't wish to get one, and I get them to use either a chair where they can prop their music up on, or some will even use like a desk. So if you have like a desk in your room or a little table, that would be fine. Lastly, a footstool. And I'll talk a little bit about this more later. Again, you don't necessarily have to have this. This just lifts up your leg a little bit as you're playing, and I'll show you why in a little bit. So, those are all the things that's all the gear, at least so far, that you'll need for this. And one of the other things I would say that's just as important as the gear is having a good, quiet, distraction-free place to practice. Now, let's get to this. Bam. You have all your gear, you have your practice space, let's get in touch with our instrument. Today, the main thing I want to address is what's called form. All form is how the instrument meets our bodies when we're going to play. Every single instrument has this, and this is usually every single instrument's first lesson. Now, you're probably used to seeing most guitarists play here on the right side of their body and on the right leg. I'm going to be showing you something a little bit different. And what I'm going to be showing you is called the 5-point seating position. It comes from classical tradition, and instead of having it on the right leg, we put it on the left. And as we go through, I think you'll see why I like this position. It's very ergonomic, it keeps you relaxed, and it gives you full access to the whole instrument. It works for classical, for acoustic, and electric guitar, and I'll show you that. But I would highly recommend this position, and I would at least give it 3 months, 3 to 6 months, at least a semester to get acquainted with it. And then from there, if you decide to move more to the right, that's totally fine, but start here. Now, to get started with this, I want a chair without arms. Usually a kitchen chair works well, or something like that. You can also find a stool around your house where you don't have arms on the chair. But the main thing is that you can get both your feet flat on the floor, like this. I have my knees spread a little bit, and I want to make sure that I'm sitting as flat in the chair as I can. From here, I want to keep a nice erect spine. So from the base of my spine to the top of my head, to the crown, I want to lift and feel this kind of lift. But now I don't want to strain here. So let's take a few breaths to kind of chill into this position. So my shoulders are back, my spine is straight, my hands are on my knees, and let's breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in again and breathe out. Now when I breathe out, I can feel all my muscles and everything just relax. Even though I'm sitting up straight with my shoulders back, everything's chill now. And we want to keep the chill vibe as we play the guitar, always. So this will help make sure we don't have any extra strain in our hands, in our feet, in our legs, anywhere. So this is how we start. From here, I'm going to take this footstool and put this right underneath where my left foot is. Now, this just gives my left foot a little bit of height. If you don't have one of these, no big deal. You can use the edge of a case. You can use a stack of books. I had one friend that used a cinder block. He'd like paint it groovy colors, and that was his jam. Boom. Now from here, this leg is lifted a little bit, so I kind of readjust my seating position just to make sure I'm nice and square in the chair. This right foot, you can move forward or back if you want to, just as long as you're nice and centered. Back is still straight, shoulders still back. Now we got our foundation, let's bring the instrument in. This lower bout of the guitar that's rounded here is going to go right here on this leg. Now I can put this in a lot of different places, and it's kind of hard to figure out sometimes, like, well, where should it go? So if you take your right hand, I flatten it out, bring my fingers together, and I put it like this on my chest, right? And I pull the guitar back until it meets my pinky. And that's as much space as I need there. First point of contact, second point of contact, this right leg. Now here, I can move this over this way, and you'll notice my neck tends to go flatter. And I want to drop the guitar between my legs. So the further this knee moves out, the more this headstock comes up. And some people sit like this, almost like cello. Some like to sit with it really flat. For me, I tend to like something around sort of between 1 and 2 o'clock, if you looked at this like a clock. And that's about good for me. Third point of contact, I take this upper bout here and I tilt it back. You notice we got a little space here, and I just tilt it. And there's still a little space between my belly and the back of the guitar here. Now, the fourth point of contact is my right arm. To get there, I just bend at my elbow, like this, and then I bring it around, like I'm going to give it a hug. Now, you'll know you're in the right place, where if I bend my elbow and I bring it around, and if I make a light fist with my right hand, I want it to be right here at the bottom edge of the sound hole. One thing that you don't want to do here is move your shoulder forward like this. That'll twist you and get you kind of squunched up. You don't want that. Keep your shoulder back, relaxed, and that's where you want to be. Now, to get these fingers where they need to be, we've talked about some of the macro stuff here. Here's the micro. We're going to take our right hand and you're going to stretch out like this. Just really stretch it and then relax. Just relax it totally, just the fingers. Stretch the fingers out and relax. Now, I just want you to open the hand up, but not stretch. So you're just opening, relaxed, and relax. Fully. Open the hand, and relax. And you notice when I do this, and I relax in, I end up in this kind of position like this. This is called neutral position. And that's what you want with your hand. You notice there's a general curve here. The thumb is meeting my index finger here, and that's what I want. So going back to this good position here, I've got my fist, and I want the back of my hand to be parallel to the top here. If I open my hand up, relax, and I place them on the strings. That's what I want. Now, you'll notice I'm not dropping in like this. You don't want that, and you don't want this. You also don't want this or this. A nice, smooth arc. Almost a straight line between this middle knuckle and the back of my elbow. Down. Left hand, I just bend at the elbow. Bam. Where I meet my neck should be around between the 5th and 7th fret, about halfway down the neck. Now, to get my left hand in the correct position, I'm going to do the same thing I did with this right hand. Stretch and relax. Stretch, relax. Now just open, relax, open, relax. I'm in the same shape I was with that right hand. The only difference here is I want my thumb to be more in the middle, around this middle finger. And to get that correct, I'm going to pick up that pencil that I have on my stand. I'm going to pick it up with my thumb and middle finger. So I take this, I grab it, and I want to find the middle point of this pencil, kind of the halfway point. So not like that, not like that, more like that. Now you'll notice here my thumb is kind of straight and my middle finger is a little bit more curved, right? And then what I'm going to do is just bring the other fingers down, and that's where I want this hand position. Gentle curve, straight line from this knuckle to my elbow. Kind of a gentle curve down through the fingers. Now I can even take my pencil and put it on my neck, like in between some of the strings here, and I just open up my thumb a little bit more to where I'm still holding this pencil, but I've got a little bit more space between my thumb and middle finger. And then when you're ready, you just take the pencil out and place them on the strings like this. So, this is my home position, my seating position. For those of y'all using a pick, very similar kind of thing. My right hand's pretty much going to be in the same place. But if you notice, my pick is like a little isosceles triangle. The tip points down to the floor, And then with my index finger, I make a perpendicular line this way with the very tip of my finger here. Like that. And I just grab it with my thumb. Now I'm holding onto this lightly. I can just pull this right out at any time. That's good. And then from here, I'll just take the tip and turn it out a little bit. So for me, I like about a 45-degree angle or so with my pick, maybe a little more. Some people like it way out. Some people even like turn the index finger in a little bit. You'll find what you like ultimately with the pick, but a good starting point is just here, tip out a little bit. And you notice if I'm strumming, I'm right here at the edge of the sound hole. Right there. So, that's a little bit about the right hand, the left hand. Everything is squared up. This is what I want my position to look like. Straight spine still, and I'm still close to how I was sitting. This is going to be ultimately more comfortable for you, and you're going to be able to play longer, practice longer, with less, without getting tired, things like that. Now, just to show you really quickly here, that's on a classical guitar, but the same thing applies to acoustic guitar. And the same thing applies to electric guitar. Same thing here. Same deal. So the only difference I would make is with the electric guitar being a little thinner, I would pull it into myself a little bit more. But everything else is exactly the same. So try out this seating position. I think ultimately you're going to be happy with it, but it does take some time to get used to. So good luck starting guitar. I'll have some more videos on the way dealing with more specifics about the right hand and left hand, and even moving between chords and some things like that. So keep an eye out for those, and hope you have a great semester. Good luck.